Welcome to Leading with Purpose. I am here with Mitch Russo. Mitch and I go way back. We were just talking before about meeting in person in 2018. And when I remember meeting you then and your background with Chet Holmes and Tony Robbins, we can talk a little bit about that. But I'm really, really excited to hear what's up now with Mitch Russo. Welcome to Leading with Purpose. How you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing great, Mark. Thank you so much for the invite and love the opportunity to finally catch up. And it's been a while. And I think you were correct in stating that my life really was about the business I had built and the businesses that I had helped scale and sold and all those other good things. But that's not at all what my life is about now. And it all started at a particular point in time. Probably the roots of this whole transformation for me goes back to October of 2023. So it's been a while. And what was happening for me, Mark, and maybe you might know other people as well, the coaching business was changing in the late 22, 23 range. And for me, what that looked like was that instead of doing 50, 60K a month in coaching revenue, I started to do 10K a month and then 3K a month. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? Nothing about me has changed. All my marketing was still in place. Something is going on. And, I'm starting to have prospect calls, and of which I was a perfect fit for them. And it wasn't clicking, and I couldn't quite figure out why. And I ended up deciding, after chatting with a friend who has experience in this area, I decided to go to Rhythmia in Costa Rica for a week of ayahuasca ceremonies. Now, if you don't know what that is, ayahuasca is a psychedelic, and it's a very, very, very powerful psychedelic. So if you ever go for ayahuasca and after you come back, someone says, "How was it? Did you have fun?" You'll probably crack up laughing, because the last thing it is fun.
And to be clear, this is not like some synthetic drug. This is a drug that's been used by the natives and Aborigines for a very, very long time. There's a whole process to it. And Rhythmia, again, is a very big resort that has a process as well that they can do like kind of groups as well. Is that correct?
Yes. And so we were what they called a small group, about 70 people.
That's a small group, 70
small
people.
Group. Yeah. They usually have 125 or so. And here's what it comes down to. The ceremony is beautiful. The music is amazing. The food, the facilities, everything is great. But once you swallow that medicine, once you drink, you are transported to a different place. And once you get there, it's sort of like, imagine if you go up to the counter at the airport to the ticket agent and say, "Yes, I'd like one, please." And they say, "Yes, sir, we'd be happy to help you. Where do you want to go? Where do you want a ticket to?" And you just say, I just want a ticket. That's kind of how it starts out, because you just have no idea where it's going to take you. It could take you to a beautiful sunny beach where you're surrounded by hula girls and pina coladas, or it could take you to the depths of your horror and have you re-experience all the worst times of your life. Now, you might say, well, why would anybody want to do that? And I don't have a good answer for it. I could only tell you what happened to me. And really, if I could sum it up, and this is 4 nights in a row. And if you know ayahuasca, these are not short sessions. These are 8 to 12-hour sessions. So
and
4 nights.
I had a personal experience, but and you had an intention set going in there, or did you just literally go in there with the no ticket, just show me wherever you want to go?
Well, they help you set your intentions. But like I said before, my life was, so in my life, Mark, I have moved through several phases. And one time I did an analysis, and I looked at my life in terms of cycles. And I realized that I've entered the 6th cycle of my life around that time, 23, 22, 23, but I didn't know it. And I didn't realize that it was actually a cycle until I looked back some time ago. But when a cycle ends, it generally doesn't tell you what the next one is. Kind of takes you to the end of the cycle and says, okay, you're here. What do you want to do now? And the answer is never clear. At least it has never been clear for me. It was just, you just launch into it and you start trying things and hoping this works or hoping that works. But what happened for me is I kind of felt like every time I were to pursue a coaching client, I felt like a piece of my soul was being lost. Now, I still had my software platform. We had built Clientfolio as a coaching platform. It was fine. It was doing okay. But it really wasn't, in a sense, my passion anymore. And I didn't know what my passion was. So I came back from 4 sessions of ayahuasca and I felt purged. So what that means is that when you do a plant medicine like say, ayahuasca, you're purging cellular trauma. Now, if you're a young person, you may think, well, I just don't have a lot of that. And you might be right, but most people have more than they realize, even in their 20s. Well, Mark, as you know, I'm 70 years old, 71 at this point. I've had I've had a good amount of, as we all have, of life trauma. And in a cellular way, it becomes part of you. So what ayahuasca does rapidly and sometimes violently is it purges it from your system. And what I felt afterwards is I felt relieved. I didn't have an answer to my question. I didn't quite know exactly what I was going to do, but I didn't feel bad anymore. So I felt like it was an improvement. And this was in October. The following 6 months later, I was invited to a local shaman ceremony that was not ayahuasca. It was a very gentle substance called Kana. It's like something you could buy on Amazon. It's a very light, gentle substance. And I went, and the ceremony was beautiful, and I met some new people. And an hour into the ceremony, the most unbelievable thing in my entire life happened to me. I became completely flooded. Every cell of my body was flooded with life and love. And I felt as if I had merged with God. I felt as if I became one with the divine at every level, down to the cells. I felt as if I was going to explode with love. I couldn't hold it in. I felt like my field was radiating 60 feet in either direction. It was just so massive. And the shaman who was there, a very experienced guy, realized right away what was going on. And he helped me get oriented. He helped me through it. But when I came back after that ceremony, I came back to my little apartment here on Pompano Beach, and I just sat for a week. I just sat and looked out the window. And I just looked out the window. I mean, for the entire week, I just said, okay. I was so empty. I was so present. I had no thoughts. I had no to-dos. My mind was so quiet that it was eerie how totally quiet everything was. And I just sat there and I just looked at the ocean the entire time. And then about a week later, I picked up a pen and I started to journal. And I could journal sometimes for 20 minutes, sometimes for 4 hours. And I just kept journaling and journaling and journaling. And this was May. The next October, that followed that same year, October, I had at the last minute decided I was going to go to a Joe Dispenza event and a 7-day advanced retreat. And I don't know if you know anything about Joe's work.
Yeah. Yeah, I know about the 7-day retreat. I know all about the prep work before the event and the measurements and the science and the results that come from it.
Have you been?
I have not, but I have several clients that have, and it's definitely on my list.
Yeah, you guys got to go. So here's what happened. In the 6 months between the time I awoke and the time I went to Dispenza, I kept, I just realized in that 6-month period that I'm enough. I am everything I need. I don't need anything else. Anything. I don't need clients. I don't need money. I don't need I'm whole. I am completely happy being whole. And so in a moment of, or I should say in a time of my life where I was in full allowance and fully present and totally open to just about anything, things started to come to me. And it's in the place of full appreciation is where you're sending the signal into the universe that says, I'm open and I'm ready. And when you are in full 100% body level appreciation of everything and of life and of yourself and of your sense of the divine, whatever that may be for you, then the universe opens to accept you in and take you to where you need to be. And so I still wasn't entirely clear where that was, but I didn't care. I just every day kept journaling, every day kept doing this. And then finally, right about, I would say, right around a month after, right about a month after I got back, I told you I've been journaling now. So about 2 months after I got back, I got the idea that maybe I should write a book. I don't know what it would be about. The reason I decided to write a book is I've already written 5 of them, and each of them had done well. They're not like bestsellers or anything. Well, they actually were, but that's the point is that they're business books. They're blueprint books, step by step, and then you get the outcome. You're happy. You learned my secret sauce. You can apply it for yourself, blah, blah, blah. So I figured I'd write another one of those books. So I did that, and I started writing and writing and writing. And I got about 30,000 words into the book. And now I'm completely disoriented. I don't like the book. In fact, I hate the book. Now, writing the book isn't even interesting or desirable anymore. It's just become a chore that I assigned myself, and I don't like that. I said, wait a minute, this isn't fun. I'm not doing this anymore. And the next day, I walk into my little home office, and I look at the bookshelf, and one book, like you have a whole bookshelf behind you. I have
a wall over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a wall that looks like what's behind you right now. I looked over, and one book and lit up for me. And I just walked over and I pulled it out, and it was The Alchemist. And so I said, okay. I took the book and I sat down and I reread it. I'd read it several times before. I reread the book. And then right after I reread the book, I thought to myself, that's it. I don't need to write a business book. I don't want to write a business book. I want to write a story, a journey, a parable about a person who takes the next step in life when it doesn't look like there's any step to take. And that became something else. So one of the things I hadn't mentioned is that after the event where I awoke, I started receiving. And I started receiving in a very, very dramatic way. I now regularly channel a series of entities called Maxwell. And so Maxwell comes through me, and we work with clients all the time now. I didn't plan on this. This is just what happened. And so people call me up and ask for sessions, and I have a little web page where they can go and sign up and all that. But the bottom line is that I asked at the end of one session with a client, the client hung up, and I'm just in this beautiful space. And I said, okay, Maxwell, so what about me? What am I supposed to do now? And all of a sudden, the book Sacred Crossroads began pouring through me. I mean, like, I couldn't write fast enough to take down the information. I tried to record it, but the translation was harder from these blocks of inspiration to words that in writing. So I just in speech. So I just started writing and writing and writing. Before I looked up, it was about 6 weeks later, and I had the framework for the entire book. And I got to tell you, every time I would sit down to write, I'd end up crying because the story was so beautiful and it was so personal, even though it had none of my information in the book. Mm-hmm. So as this book continued to pour through me, other people started to show up in my life. I mean, like, show up. So I ended up connecting with a woman who, on one of these like mastermind calls, someone said to me, you should speak to so-and-so. So I get on the phone with this woman and I tell her what I'm doing. She goes, look, I can't help you at all, but I know somebody who can. Her name is Jane. I'll put you in touch with her. So I got in touch with Jane. I sent Jane a copy of the book. I'm saving the long story, make it short. Bottom line is that Jane loaded it up into Speechify, I think, and she listened to it while she was driving. And she fell in love with the book. And she came back and said, okay, this book is too important. This has to come out. You must get this into the marketplace. And she has 40 years of publishing experience. She didn't ask me for a penny. She just offered to shepherd me through. She wanted to become my book angel. And I said, you got it, babe. Thank you so much. And so she shepherded me through this entire process. She introduced me to all her contacts. But I'm leaving out one important part of this because I mentioned I had gone to a Joe Dispenza event. And anyone who goes to a Joe Dispenza event knows that in 7 days, you're doing approximately 40 hours of meditation in the session meditation.
With a group of like 1,000 people.
2,000.
2,000 people, yeah.
Yeah, right. And you don't feel as if it's unpersonal. You feel it's very personal. Dr. Joe has a way of bringing every single person in, making you feel as if you're the only one in a way. And everything is provided for you, so you don't have to worry about a thing. And one of the last meditations was a exercise where, and Joe is very careful about the words he uses. He never uses the words visualize, because visualize means it's separate from you. So what he does instead is he says, create your future and pull it towards you. So one of the things that I had realized in my life, I've been divorced since 2018, is it was time for me to have the real and most important, most significant love relationship I would ever have. And it would need to be now, because I couldn't have had it before. Before I was awakened, I was not worthy of that type of a relationship. And now I am. And so in that meditation, I couldn't visualize the physical person, but I visualized the being, and I pulled her towards me. And after the meditation was over, it was great. I loved it. I went and had lunch, and that was the end of that. And I almost forgot about it. About 10 days later, I get a notice on one of these apps I've been on for years and hardly pay attention to, that someone had asked me a question. So I go and look, and it's a very attractive woman, and I answer her question. Next thing you know, we're meeting for lunch. And so this happened all inside of 3 weeks right after the Dispenza event. We've been together ever since. We'll likely be together for the rest of our lives. And she is my life. Yeah.
Oh, I did not. I'm hearing this story for the very first time. So I have goosebumps and I'm filled with joy for you. So
thank you.
Happy.
My life is very blessed, so blessed right now. And then, of course, the most amazing thing happens again. These things came to me. I didn't feel like I had to go pursue stuff. So Clientfolio, that I mentioned earlier, was my SaaS platform for coaches. And I have a friend out here in Boca Raton. His name is Mike Filsame. We've been friends for maybe 5 or 6 years.
Most people in our industry know who Mike Filsame is.
Right. So we were out to dinner with a bunch of guys, and I said, Mike, I sure would appreciate it if you could run an email out to your massive list and offer them Clientfolio. And and I had asked him before. He goes, yeah, maybe we'll do that someday, So it was dinner, and we were all probably one or two drinks in. I don't drink, by the way, anymore. I haven't really had a drink or anything related to that since the experience. So we're after dinner, and he says, "Look, we're just around the corner from my office. Let's go back. Well, I want to see this Clientfolio thing." I said, "Sure." So I go back and I sit down, and now it's like 10 o'clock at night, and I'm doing a 1-hour demo, and the guy is like totally blown away. And he says to me, "Holy God, Mitch, this is way more powerful than I ever realized." But man, I said ugly. I said, "Yeah, it's ugly." It was written. It
worked really well.
It worked really well, but the interface was horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm not an interface designer. You know what I mean? So I said to him, "Well, look, I know, but once you learn it, it doesn't matter. Because now it really matters a lot." He says, "Tell you what, let me help you." That's great. What do you want to do? He goes, let me put my team on this. There'll be some overtime you'll have to pay for or whatever, but I said, sure. So he sets me up with his development team, and using AI, they completely redeveloped the entire platform in about 3 months. Now, 3 months back a year ago was quick.
Yeah.
Today we could do the whole thing in approximately 2 days because of the way AI is. So and I'll get into that more if you want, but the bottom line is that we're now using AI to take the software to the very next level, way past anything I had ever envisioned. It's like having a team of 30 senior level programmers working for you full time, 24 hours a day. So you could kind of if you could dream it, you could create it now. And not only has Mike been helping me do that, I'm learning to do it too. So now I'm evolving myself and my product. And now Mike is my business partner, and he's selling Click Coach, which is the rebranded name of Clientfolio, with all these new features, this beautiful interface and everything that just showed up in my life. So, I mean, all of this is on the backdrop of coming from a place where I was completely despondent, didn't know what to do, and sort of lost what I was doing before and wasn't enthusiastic about anything. And then all of a sudden, fast forward, here I am living this incredible life in a way I had never imagined, and having a book out now. I don't know if you can see it. It's probably bad with the background, but...
No, we do. And I'm glad you see the whole book there, because we saw behind you part of Crossroads. But we didn't see the sacred above it. And for anybody who's not familiar with Wheel of Fortune, they might have missed and not quite sure that was Crossroads behind you. So sacred Crossroads, beautiful artwork, beautiful cover work. And again, I love the passion and excitement that I feel from you. And again, from your writing partner, your publisher, about being able to get that out there, and the importance of that, about getting this out there. And that's why we're here today, is to talk about really that piece about, you don't have to do an ayahuasca. I'm hoping that we're thinking that you can help people to really be able to step into the more of their purpose and all this impact part without.
So exactly. One of my gifts as a business individual and as a human being is I have been able to see other people's pathways very clearly. That's why I was really so good at coaching, because I could see very clearly, very quickly what was needed in a business. Because I already had 40 years of business experience, but more importantly, because I can prioritize things rapidly. When I see a company or a person, I can rapidly prioritize. I couldn't do it for myself when I really thought I needed it, but then again, God had other plans for me. I mean, that was the beautiful part about it. I wasn't supposed to do it for myself. It was supposed to happen. So as I've learned, and I'm sure, Mark, as you know, our goal is not to do so much as it is to intend. And I don't mean to sit in basically in an empty chair with your eyes closed and intend. I mean, you should work towards your intentions. But what it really comes down to is they have to be aligned. And your body knows what alignment feels like. Most people can recognize that. So if I work, when I work with somebody, whether it's to get their book out, whether it's to scale a business, whether it's to grow their coaching business, whatever that may be, I am able to find that alignment in another person very, very quickly. So we use all of these ideas when we work with clients to help them find that special sacred book inside of them, and then connect it to what it is that they're doing to make money. And it's a beautiful union.
I absolutely love it. You talked about yourself being known as a great strategist, and there's a reason why Tony Robbins brought you in as a CEO. But you've also done the inner work. Like I know the backstories, and some of them, some of your own personal journey that got you here. And now, again, you're helping people to really look at their life's work as part of their personal journey. And then bringing in this extra piece. You said that you're working with, what was the group, like Abraham?
Maxwell.
Maxwell, yes.
Yeah.
And I brought up Abraham because I've known of Abraham, and many people might be familiar with Abraham Hicks and that work. I got to finally actually sat in the chair with Abraham for my birthday last year in June 14th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so beautiful.
Yeah. And so I understand when you, to me, the reason that you have Maxwell is because you've been doing the inner work. You don't just become a channel, because a channel, that's the whole idea is that you've cleared a lot of those things. And so that you can bring this extra thing. Now you've got the strategy, you've got the intuitive inner guidance, and being able to bring those pieces together. I'm super excited for you. And again, being a living example of that. I'm curious because, again, when you talked about sitting for a week looking at the ocean, I can literally look at the left side of your face, I think it is, and see the sunshine coming in the window, and that the ocean is literally, you could just turn the other way and see the ocean. Many of us don't have that. Many of us don't have a home on the ocean and a career that's been built up to be able to say, I trust the universe.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. Except that you don't need that. The ocean is not what's important. What's important is to have the space to process. So what that might mean for you is different than what it means for me. For some people, having space to process could just be turning off the devices for a long time and being with yourself. The hardest person to be with is yourself, most people. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, that's the most important person you need to learn to be with. And if you hear stories about these things called deprivation tanks, you know that if you put the average person into a sensory deprivation tank, they can't stand it. And that's important to know. The reason they can't stand it is because their mind is so busy, it doesn't stop, and there's nothing to distract them. Mm-hmm. If you're a meditator, I've been a meditator at least 35 years and probably longer. And so when I started learning the Joe Dispenza meditations, it took me even deeper and faster. And anybody who attends an advanced Joe Dispenza event is going to come away with the ability to go deep, fast. And of course, like Joe says, and like intuitively, if you stop doing it, you stop losing that presence. If you keep doing it, you keep it, and it grows and it multiplies. One of the things we did is we formed a group, a little retreat. We got 10 or 12 people got together. We decided we were going to meditate every night together on Zoom. And that group has been going ever since October of 2024. And It's expanded now to over 500 people. So, and it's only advanced students who graduated the 7-day retreat. Yep. And we share, and it's, this is not encouraged in a way, but, Joe sells his meditations. There's no subscription platform. You buy them. So you could buy a meditation for $25 or $30, and then it's yours. If somebody else wants one, if you gave them yours, it would be kind of like stealing, So what we do is, with permission, we broadcast them in the Zoom room, can't be recorded, and you can only listen in as an attendee. So we're able to create that feeling of the energy of, a bunch of people together in a single space.
That's so powerful. We just got done hosting our 7th annual Soulful Leadership Retreat, and the idea of community is so important, especially after you have an event like that, of keeping the container together. If you learn all this stuff over even a week, and as intense as it is, if you go back into the ordinary world, and I was thinking about that earlier, the whole hero's journey, you got called out from the ordinary world, you got invited to this bizarre experience and got to face all of your enemies and meet allies on your ayahuasca journey. And then you get to bring back the boon. And that's really where we are now, is that you want to be able to share this with everyone else. So for anybody that's listening or watching, first of all, where do we get it? It's on Amazon, I'm guessing. Is there a better place to find your book?
No, you could buy Audible or Amazon. And the tagline of the book is "The path appears when you take the first step." And to me, that was probably the most significant message I received from the very beginning. And it was, if I couldn't take the first step, the path would never show up. And so when I was asked, what is the tagline for your book? It was immediate, like, oh, of course, it has to be this. So, yeah, it's on Amazon. You could buy it. You can get it on Audible. I prefer Audible myself, but other people like to read. The only thing I would ask is, if you're going to read it and enjoy it, I hope you do, is to write a review. It's very hard for authors to get reviews. I hate to ask, but it's part of the process of promoting is to get good reviews for your book if the book is worth it. The other thing is, of course, is that we're now getting several book clubs that have expressed interest. So we've created a book club guide as well, because this is the type of book that after you read it, you're gonna be able to work with other people with the concepts of the book about how to bring yourself forward through what might have been hidden before. So like The Alchemist, it's a parable. The story of the alchemist is somebody who goes on a long journey to find something that he had at the very beginning. So, that's almost the definition of a parable. And that's what this is about. It's a story about a man who has been locked up into a lifestyle that has served him and his family for 3 generations until something shifts and it can no longer work that way anymore. And that's where the whole story begins. And it begins in a mystical place in a rural part of Massachusetts that doesn't exist. And the people that come into his life are destined to be there at exactly the right time. And together they go on this exploration of themselves. And even though it plays out outside in their outside world, it's really an inner exploration. And that's what the book, I hope, delivers in terms of its message. So
I love that. And I think it's very relatable. I think that with everything that's happening, not only in our country, but in the world right now, people are feeling the shift.
That's right.
It's been happening for some time, but like we're really at a precipice right now. And I love the tagline. I wanted to go back to that kind of as a final word for leading with purpose around taking the first step. And it made me think of The Golden Child, an Eddie Murphy movie, believe it or not.
Sure.
And he had he had to go through these different tests, and one of them was to step out into the abyss. And as he took the step, the steps arise as he took them. And so,
right.
For somebody who may not be clear, like how do you know what the first step is?
I'm going to read you the tagline again to answer your question. The path appears when you take the first step. Sometimes, in fact, most of the time, you don't know what the first step is. And so sometimes you have to take several steps that don't work out for you to know whether it was the first step or not. So, for example, if you're the type of person that I was very headstrong, very determined. I was very success and focused, motivated that way. I would take that first step so many times that my head would get bruised from banging on the same wall. What I've come to learn is that when you take a step, you sense whether that step was in the right direction or not. And even if it didn't work the first time and you try it again, you use your senses to determine whether or not you're headed in the right direction. And it might not be. But if you're not taking any steps, then that's where the whole process falls apart. So if you're sitting there in a situation, and there are people that have family situations, that have divorced, have health issues, and say, well, Mitch, you didn't have that, or that was not your pathway. It doesn't matter. I have had all of those things in my past as well. But the most important thing right now is to try and get some clarity on what you are and who you are. That's the most important thing. So what does the book do? The book really is an inspiration. And I think that's kind of, it's not a how-to. It's not a blueprint book. It's not
You know what it can be, though? It can be a first step. If you're not sure what the first step is, the sacred Crossroads could be the first step. And I will put the links both for Amazon and for Audible in the show notes.
Yeah.
I have one more question for you, too, before we wrap up. I'm curious because this is leading with purpose. And you had so many different, you said 6 different cycles that you've been through. at this point in your life, what does leading with purpose mean to you?
Well, so I have been blessed in my life to have been financially secure at this point. So I love to work. I love to help people and I love to make money, but I don't have to. And I know people say, yeah, well, sure, I'd love to be in that situation too. But look, you know what? It took me a while. I worked to get to this situation, and you will too. My purpose right now is to help as many people as I can see their pathway forward. That is my purpose. Now, the other thing is that, I'm not so altruistic that I'm going to dedicate my life to doing nothing but helping other people. I'm going to do it my way. And whether or not that's through entertainment or training or programs, one person approached me very quickly after the book was released and said, you got to run a course where you could work with the Sacred Crossroads system? And I said, yeah, maybe, and who knows? But that's not what this is about. Right now, this is about you getting what the book says and applying it to your life and thinking about it, spending some time with it. It's not a do step one, do one thing, step two, do something else. It's not that at all. You and your spouse read the book and discuss it. You and your friends, you and your reading circle, read the book. I even give you all the questions you could ask each other to really deepen the experience for you. If you go to sacredcrossroadsbook.com, you'll get a chance to download the wisdom tips, which are free, and keep up with the updates. There'll be a Sacred Crossroads Book 2 and Book 3 coming as well. And
nice.
Yeah.
And so just to repeat the website for those that are listening, it's crossroadswisdom.com.
No, it's sacredcrossroadsbook.com.
Okay. Sacredcrossroadsbook.com. Sacredcrossroadsbook.com, where they can go and they can download
the wisdom tips.
The wisdom tips. Thank you.
So at the back of the book, every chapter is packed with basic timeless wisdom. And at the back of the book, there is an entire section called the wisdom tips. I'm trying to find it so I could show it to you. And the wisdom tips really are taken directly from each. I don't know if you can see, it's called the wisdom summaries.
Yep.
Oh. Yeah. So right here in the book, it goes through each of the chapters and extracts the one that I felt was the most meaningful. And you could download that whole list for free. If you join the mailing list, you'll get occasional stories that I've written about this fictional place that in Massachusetts.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, called Cedar Springs, Massachusetts, and it's named Cedar Springs because it's basically a place where cedar trees and underwater springs meet, and that has a very special significance, as you'll see as you get into the story. So I wanted to tell the backstory of that, and I wrote that as a giveaway, as a gift to my subscribers. So if you're called to it and you feel like if you like spiritual books, if you like these types of books, my genre is basically called magical fiction. But it's as much a transformational fiction book as anything else.
Love it, love it, love it. So excited. I'm excited to read it myself, and we'll have a follow-up afterwards because, again, this is just the beginning, a first step for many people. I thank you so much for being here today, and also just for being able to share your story and to trusting your guidance to take that first step, to have that journey, and then to keep following and to be able to share this with the world.
Thank you, Mark. Very appreciated.
Thank you, Mitch. And again, we'll follow up soon. Is there any other place where people can reach out to you if they want to find out more about Maxwell, or is the best way to go to?
So channelingmax.com is where you could find out a little bit more about Maxwell, and if you're called to it, you can book a session. I know that there's schedules available, so that's not a problem. But this probably won't be like anything you've experienced before, and I don't know time to time what it will be like for you until it starts. So, as a channel, I do my best. My job is to get out of the way. That's the way I see it. my job is to step aside and let a higher intelligence speak through me for you. That's what it's for.
Mitch, it's been an honor to see your evolution. Again, just meeting in 2018, you'd already achieved and accomplished so much, but to see you on a personal level like this and to see your book out, it's a great honor and great privilege to be your friend.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate it. And I can't wait to hear about how you like the book.
I will definitely follow up. I'm excited about it. It's the next one on my list.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mitch. And thank you all for being here. Again, check out the show notes for links to get to the book Audible and to sacredcrossroadsbook.com, where you can download those wisdom tips. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. Keep shining. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Leading with Purpose. We hope today's conversation has inspired you to lead with purpose and make a meaningful impact. If you're ready to discover where you stand on your leadership journey, I invite you to take the Soulful Leadership Assessment. It's a powerful tool to help you align with your leadership style and your true purpose.